Hello everyone, hi and welcome to the channel Wall Street Mojo. To know more about this video, CFA Level 1, the study plans, topics, so the passing rate and the tips that I can give. Watch the video till the end, and if you are new to this channel, then you can subscribe us by clicking the bell icon that's given below. Welcome everyone, and today we have a very fantastic topic, that is CFA, the course that every financial student they prefer to study. Well, let me give you a short synopsis of what we are going to do in this particular topic. Well, CFA Level 1 is focused on acquiring knowledge. So, CFA Level 1 topics and curriculums that I'm going to show you. Then, some of the important things that you should remember for this curriculum, the subjects. Then I'll probably make you understand some of the exam details. And then the study plans. Will also move on with the exam tips that you should take care while taking this into consideration, some of the sample questions, and finally conclusion to this whole particular topic. Well, let's quickly begin with this. So guys, CFA exam is indisputably one of the toughest and the most valuable financial exam designed to help the professional to acquire the advanced financial analysis and the investment management skills and capabilities. So CFA professionals are in great demand in various sub-domains of finance for their expertise and knowledge of the what we call as the financial analysis. Okay, they are known for this, and CFA professionals are in great demand. Okay, it is this certification is awarded by CFA Institute of USA, United States of America, and is globally acknowledged by the top financial institutions and the top industry employers. So it is comprehensive certification program consisting of the 3 levels. There are 3 levels: level 1, 2, and 3. Each of one focuses on specific knowledge area to help to develop a detailed understanding of the concept and their practical application. So each CFA level represents an important step on the path to become a CFA Charter holder. So it must be understood that to complete the certification program and acquire the CFA Charter not only helps to validate the financial knowledge and skills and the capabilities of professional knowledge, but also to showcase the ability to work patiently and make determined and well-defined efforts to excel in the domain of the professional pursuit. So in this course, we will focus on the CFA Level 1 exam. The first and most important is the step to acquire. Well, how does the curriculum goes? If you talk about the curriculum, CFA Level 1 is focused on acquiring knowledge of the basic concepts in finance. So it would be very important to get an understanding of the subject-wise organization of the exam. So there are basically 10 knowledge you can say areas covered in CFA organized under 4 modules with an increasing level of difficulty from CFA Part 1 to Part 3. So the 4 modules, the 4 knowledge modules of CFA includes ethics, then you have professional standards, okay, then you have some of the thing called investment tools and asset classes, and the final but not the least, the portfolio management, okay, and wealth planning. So this is how the whole topic area, this is a tabular representation of the knowledge areas along their specific weightage for the level 1 exam. So if you see ethics and professional standard has total 15, the investment tools, the highest weightage is here on ethics. Then you see the next comes the financial reporting and analysis. That is also one big chunk. Quantitative methods, economics, then corporate finance. These are some of the investment tools. Alternative investment is very low in the first level, but it will increase gradually as you increase the level 2 and 3. The alternative investment and derivative and probably the equity fixed income will increase as the level increases. So these are the wealth planning tools, all of them. The wealth planning tool is basically the portfolio management, and the rest is the asset classes. So this is how the whole this is how the whole bifurcation is divided. Now the financial reporting standard. Well, the important things that you should take into consideration for level 1 exam. I'll start with, the financial reporting ethics, cons makes approx 50%. Ethics, cons, okay, and financial reporting. So all of this makes 50% weighted. So it should be apparent from the information presented from about that, financial reporting analysis, ethics and professional standard and quantitative method represents closely around 47% of the exam weightage taken together. So it is clear that if one scores well in this three subjects, they stand to get a good chance of passing the CFA Level 1. However, it is recommended to not to ignore any of the subjects to be able to score well in the exam. This is 47%. Second, the non-financial graduates to put more efforts on the financial reporting. Remember this. Very important. Okay. See, CFA Level 1 may not be nearly as challenging for the finance graduate, whereas for non-finance graduate might have to put a greater amount of effort for financial reporting analysis, but it should not be a major obstacle. Those having completed an MBA in the finance or probably engineering background could be more comfortable with the financial reporting and could find their forte in the quantitative methods, which can be rather than challenging for those who are non-mathematical background. Third, the subjects and the modules are mostly common in all the levels. Okay. So one needs to understand that although the subjects and modules are common to all the three CFA levels, the real difference lies in the exam weighted, which keeps changing and with each level. So for CFA level 2 and 3, there is a greater stress on more complex areas, including like derivatives, alternative investments, equity investments, portfolio, wealth planning. However, there is almost an equal level of stress on the study of the ethics in all the three CFA levels, which indicates the kind of the significance attached to this area of the study of the CFA Institute. Right. So next, we provide you an overview of all the 10 knowledge areas covered in the CFA Level 1, and this should help the participant gain an insight into the nature of the topics as well as the best strategy to be adopted for successfully covering the CFA curriculum. Well, we will start with the subject. First is the ethics. The whole name of the subject is Ethics and Professional Standards. So this is one of the most important area of the study in the CFA, as the certification program is dedicated to the promotion of the universal professional ethics. So this is evident in the subject, weighted as well as whether ethics is one of the area which receives comparative weightage in all three CFA levels. So this subject covers Code of the Ethics, Professional Standard, Global GIPS, or Global Investment Professional Standards, as a larger part of the ethics, as it is it's applicable in the financial industry. Second comes the corporate finance. Okay. Now, this section is rather limited in its scope, merely 7% of the weightage. You all know it now. And it covers the area related to the capital budgeting, NPV, IRR, cost of capital, leverage, dividends, share repurchases, working capital management, corporate governances of the listed company, and so on and so forth. So some of the problems addressed, including the agency problem, is also context in the agency-principal relationship in this particular subject. Then comes the economics. In economics, what you can learn is, this section covers the fundamental of the micro as well as macroeconomics. Okay. So with its primary focus in it, later it goes without saying that, those with an economics background generally tends to do well in the macroeconomics and makes it less challenging to assimilate all the information presented with the help of the graphical presentations. Okay. And as it is a standard method. So the subject has 10% weighted, which makes it important enough to be pursued with diligence. Then comes the financial reporting and analysis. Well, as we have already made clear that it has 20% weightage, making it important enough in knowledge area for anyone pursuing the CFA. These exam tests the knowledge of the financial ratios and the financial statement commonly employed for the purpose of the financial analysis. So along with this, one should well be versed in the concepts of the revenue recognition, account receivables, and the inventory analysis, along with the taxes and the long-term assets. So it must be kept in mind while preparing for this exam. The local accounting practice, and it does not hold much relevance, as CFA is more of a global exam, focuses on US GAAP and IFRS. Then comes the fifth, that is the quants, that is quantitative methods. Well, this section is focused on the quantitative analysis and mathematical oriented approach. So basically it addresses the complex financial issues, which makes this as a knowledge area and is such as a great value. Some of the most important area that is covered in this includes performance management, TVM, time value of money. Then we have post facto hypothesis testing, probability, sampling, linear regression, and so on and so forth. So a study of these concepts provides some highly useful tools and techniques for the knowledge area of the fixed income, probably for equities and portfolio management. So proper understanding and grasp of quantitative technique would help to master the proportion of the CFA body of the knowledge. Sixth, I'll take alternative investments. Okay. This section includes the form of the investment not covered under the other knowledge areas of the CFA. So this includes like real estate funds, VCs, hedge funds, commodities, and there is a special focus on the commodities. So it would be helpful for the participants to have an in-depth awareness of the concept related to the trading in commodities. There could have been 7 or 8 conceptually oriented questions from this section, but some of them specifically related to the commodities. Although this section is short on weightage in CFA Level 1, but with proper efforts, this section can be mastered with the comparative cases. 7th comes derivative into picture. Derivatives. See, derivatives are the complex financial instruments. They are the complex financial instruments, and these sections deal with them specifically. So, including the fundamentals of futures, forwards, options, swaps, hedging techniques. So more complex methods are usually employed for studying this exotic financial instrument, but on the level 1, most of the material is introductory in nature, and weighted off this section is only 5%, with only about 5% of around 12 questions in the exam from this section. 8th is equity. We talk about equity. This section primarily deals with the equity market and covers various tools for the techniques available for the valuation companies like DCF, PE, PBV, PCF, and so on and so forth. So this section has nearly 10% weightage. About 25 questions are there, and you can say that from the section of the exam, most of the questions could be related to the valuation and analysis of the company. Then comes 9th, the fixed income. Well, this section covers the fixed income market and instruments and the pricing techniques. Important concepts including like yield measure, durations, convexity are discussed. Sequentially, this section deals with the bond analysis and valuation before taking up the bonds feature, before finally moving up to the top 10 risk related to debt investments. So the exam weighted is closely around 10% for this section. 10. Portfolio management. Well, this section deals with the fundamental principle of the portfolio management. It introduces some of the key concepts including like theory of modern portfolio, capital asset pricing model. So the section weightage is only around 7%, which is roughly, it translates about 17 questions. Okay. In the exam, however, this section gains increasingly significance in the level 2 and level 3 of CFA as its focus shifts to application of the available knowledge for the efficient portfolio. Now, what are some of the details that you should understand? That CFA level exam is closely around 6 hours long. Okay, divided into morning and the afternoon session, the morning and afternoon. Okay, of 3 hours each. Both of them, there will be 3 hours of each. Each of the session has multiple 120 questions, both of them comprising of total 240 questions. Okay, in total 240 questions in both the session. So it should be kept in mind that 3 choices are provided for each of the questions, and most of the questions are unrelated to each other. So this helps to judge the knowledge and the capabilities of the tester and participants in the widened range of the knowledge areas. Okay, well, once you're done with this, let me give you some of the details on the results and the pass dates. Results and the pass rate. See, result of the CFL exam are usually announced within 60 days after the date of the exam. So the result can be accessed both on CFA Institute website as well as exam participants also get an email. Okay, before detailing on the pass rate, one must understand CFA Level 1 exam is conducted twice a year in the month of June and December. The pass rate, if you see, in the past 10 years, 2007 to 2016, the overall pass rate has been around 39.65%. Okay. The 10-year average percent of CFA Level 1 is around 40.5, and the total 10-year average percent of December CFA Level 1 exam is closely around 38.8. Okay. So this is how the pass rate have gone about. The declining pass rate for CFA Level 1, it has often been pointed out that, passing rate for this exam has been declining for past few years, and it could help for participants to know the possible reasons behind it. It is considered that the result of the low perquisite for the Level 1 exam, which results in a lot of people appearing for the exam. So, however, only those with good level of preparations make thus lowering the passing rate. So, this holds an important message for the people with a non-accounting or financial background, or CFA might require a good deal of the extra effort from them to be able to clear an exam. And it would not be intelligent to opt for CFA just because you are eligible to appear for it. Not a good plan. Okay. Now, what are the CFA Level 1 study plans that you should take into account? Well, when we talk about the study plan, as we have already seen, the pass rate of the CFA Part 1 is rather low, in range of 37 to 40%. This shows that, rather limited number of the candidates successfully completes the exam, and you really have to make a concerted effort to be able to pass it through and earn the coveted CFA Charter. However, at this moment we are focusing on Part 1, but the same holds good for Part 1 as well, Part 2 as well. It is only that, the level of the difficulty will keep rising with each level going above. Usually, I consider that, 300 hours, is enough. Generally, it is recommended to devote around 300 hours of the structured study to be able to complete the CFA Level 1 successfully. It goes without saying that all those with a solid background in any of the CFA topics might require lesser amount of the time for preparation. And it would help to remember that CFA Level 1 exam covers 10 topics, 18 study sessions, 60 in total readings. Okay. So each study session should be reviewed and independently to be able to ascertain the level of the familiarity with the topics covered therein. Okay. Here, I'll give you a general study plan how you should go about. This is a tabular representation of how the weights is, the highest weight to the lowest weight, okay? And based on this, how many number of hours you should devote. The days number of days that you should allocate, right? So, you have allocated 20 days. So, you require in total 6 months to complete the entire thing. So, based on the weight, you should give number of hours and then the rest of the studies. So, this is how you should have a proper guidance. This means that, one should start preparing at least 5 to 6 months before the actual date, if you see this. And the exam cover the curriculum well within the time and devote the last month to the review of the exam material. So, this can be crucial to success in the exam as the study material is comprehensive and without proper review of the entire curriculum, one may not be able to take or make it through. So, this is the best way to start the tutorial, and move to some of the notes such as to ensure that you have covered all the important concepts from the point of view of the exam. Thereafter, I would advise you to look at the CFA blue box examples. The blue box examples that are discussed within the chapter and the end of the chapter, that is EOC questions. Okay, this may take around 80 to closely around 100 hours. However, it is always recommended to have completed the exam preparation at least 1 month in advance of the exam date. Now, if you have, let's say, 100 to 120 hours exam preparation time, obviously you know that this is for you very short time span. However, I think it is just enough to give your one best shot. I recommend that, forget about the CFA curriculum books. Sorry, but you can't look at your books now. On an average, it takes around 200 plus hours to go through the CFA curriculum books, which is obviously you are short of. So go through the our website of Wall Street Mojo of CFA video tutorials. This may take around, just 40 to 50 hours, and these are good starting points to prepare yourself for the exam. Once you have looked at the videos, go through the 𝐓𝐩𝐬 notes in detail. Though these are the summary version of the CFA books, however, I feel they are sufficient enough to ensure that you pass the exam. Reading the 𝐓𝐓𝐬 note will take you around 50, not more than that, 50 to 60 hours or so. And the remaining time, if any, you must spend it attending as many mock papers as much as possible. Okay. And you can and concept revision. So please find enough time to practice 2 to 3 mock test paper, because it is really very helpful. Trust me on this. And I had only 100 to 110 hours of CFA Level 1 exam preparation and use this strategy to pass the CFA Level 1. Now, if you have closely around, let's say, 200 to 250 hours of available for exam preparation, then if you can spend 200 to 250 hours preparing the exam, then you might be in the dilemma, should I touch the complete CFA curriculum books or not? My take would be to selectively work on the CFA curriculum book. First step, you should go through the video tutorial CFA by Wall Street Mojo, then move to the 𝐓𝐓𝐬𝐬 notes, and later to CFA curriculum books. Now, within the curriculum books for the CFA Level 1, do have a look at the CFA blue box examples and the EOC question. So the blue box that you should short consider, and the EOC question. Okay, now let me give you some of the final tips on how to work on this CFA Level 1 exam. See, first you create the schedule for yourself, how you're going to go about an outlook on another tool, and a map to progress. You complete each study section. Now this would help to complete the curriculum at least a month before the exam. Okay, and during the last month review as well, it is advisable to develop and adhere to study schedules. Be very short on your schedules. Okay, it is very highly recommended to attempt all the questions in the exams at the end of each section instead of leaving it to later, because this will help to assess the progress you have made and exposing the areas of the weakness which might require extra effort and study time to be mastered. Now, practicing these questions would also add to your confidence in what you have learned and help you get a feel of what you might encounter in the exam. Okay, now it is very important, remember that, to acquire knowledge of the financial concepts and understand several complex terms that is associated as per the CFA curriculum, because because there are a number of complex financial concepts covered in curriculum and terms are defined in certain way in curriculum, while the other places things may have been defined somewhat differently. So this may create a confusion and lack of clarity so I basically recommend to continuously refer to the curriculum and stay on the right track of your exam. Curriculum is the key to success, and the Wall Street Mojo videos. Well, you can prepare well with the mock test in the final days of your studies. Mock tests really help you well. In the long curriculum review period prior to exam, it is generally recommended to practice more questions and appear for the mock exam offered by CFA Institute, because this would require you to take around 3 hours morning session test and followed by 2 hours break, and after which 3 hours again afternoon session would recommence. So this is likely to help you to prepare well in the exam psychologically, as apart from helping assess the general level of the performance. And remember one thing, that CFA Institute clearly defines the LOS, which is known as Learning Outcome Statement, the knowledge, skills, capabilities that you should be able to apply after completing each reading and all the associated exercise and problem. Now, in order to master the LOS, you can write down the principal concepts. Just write down the principal concepts, definitions and formulas, which would help you to remember them better. You could make, what you call as the flashcards to be able to instantly review the key concepts in the curriculum instead of carrying around a comprehensive material. Make sure you do that. Now, this makes it easier to get back to the learning and reviewing material in the shortest time breaks. So one effective technique could be used called the mnemonic technique, devices and other memory techniques that is possibly available. Now, it is very important to develop an organized approach to study in order to avoid missing out any concepts in the nuances presented in the CFA curriculum. So it is not all necessary to study subjects in order to, and they are presented, and instead it could be better approach to start with the section covering the fundamental before taking up more advanced topics while preparing. So one logical way would be first focus on the quantitative methods. Okay, quantitative methods is very important. Now, one logical way is to first focus on quant method, which might find wider application in other areas before moving on to the financial reporting and analysis. So leave more complex and advanced topics like macro ethics for later. Another approach could be to focus on the quant topics at one time, understand the concepts and tackle the problems presented, studying the quantitative qualitative material, including the ethics behavior. So my personal plan would be go for quant first, then post facto you can take up financial reporting, then ethics, then you can go for corpfin, that is corporate finance, fixed income, economics, then you can go for equity. Okay, that is also a good option, equity, then derivative, alternative investments, portfolio, and finally you can go with the ethics. So this is how you should go about, portfolio, but ethics should be read twice. So I'll recommend ethics again to be read at the end. Now, to ensure you do not lose any of the time during the exam, it would be best to practice with the CFA approved calculator, which can prove to be a great help during the exam. So the Texas Instrument BA2 plus official calculator, it is approved by CFA, and it would be useful if you have well acquainted with the functions available for calculating the effective yield, so the capital budgeting and other necessary calculations that you can go for. Right, so CFA Level 1, I'll make my final conclusion on CFA Level 1 topic here. CFA Level 1 is certainly not the faint-hearted or those casually interested. It is meant for the people already working in the field of finance with a good amount of knowledge in a specific domain, and they are willing to develop the expertise in the professional skills and capabilities of the career advancement. So the odds of completing the exam successfully are certainly not, it's not insurmountable, but participants needs to realize that without an organized and dedicated effort, the results may not be favorable. On the other positive side, completing CFA Level 1 exam opens up the whole new world of professional growth opportunities and expands the scope of the knowledge and the skills for any finance professional, so they can set their sight on earning much coveted CFA Charter and put their best foot forward. That's it. I think I have covered everything that CFA Level 1 exam has to, or the student has to go through. If you have learned and enjoyed watching this video, please like, comment on this video and subscribe to our channel for all the latest updates. Thank you everyone once again. Cheers.